In the depths of the night, the slave quarter within King Rossz's fortress was shrouded in darkness, illuminated only by the flickering torches, casting eerie pools of light throughout the area. The central lawn, a barren confine of sand and soil dotted with puddles of murky water, was brightly lit, compared to the enveloping shadows. A foreboding structure stood at the heart of this scene. Two tall vertical wooden poles, connected by a horizontal bar near the top. Suspended from this daunting frame, an unconscious body hung limply, drawing all eyes to this chilling spectacle. Some slaves, restless and unable to sleep, peered through the bars of their cells at the figure. Shadows danced across the haunting silhouette, igniting a mix of fear and curiosity among them. They whispered to each other, speculating about the unusual circumstances of this new arrival, whose presence at such a time, and in such a manner, deviated from the routine protocols. They gazed at him with pity, as his head hung low, resting against his massive chest, which rose and fell in a steady rhythm. A clear sign that he was still alive. Despite his formidable physique, his face was strikingly young and handsome, adding a layer of tragedy to his predicament. His eyes remained closed, blissfully unaware of the dire fate that awaited him. The decision to place this man on the open lawn, rather than in an individual cell, sparked whispers among the slaves. Even in his unconscious state, he was quickly restrained, a move that suggested he was no ordinary prisoner. By positioning him so visibly, it appeared that the authorities were using him as an example, presumably to reinforce the oppressive order within the slave quarter. Excessive torches were strategically lit at the frame, their blazing heat serving as an obvious method of torture. Even as the man remained insensible. Simultaneously, the intense light illuminated his figure for all to observe, accentuating the sculpted beauty of his muscular physique. The slaves quietly exchanged whispers, piecing together fragments of details they had overheard from the wardens. This man had been brought directly from King Rossz's private torture chamber, carrying with him a specific directive. While they were familiar with the king's preference for men of such formidable stature, the presence of this impressive individual in their midst ignited intense curiosity. Most victims transferred from that chamber typically arrived at their quarter, subdued and compliant, their spirits worn down by earlier abuses. However, this new arrival was markedly different. He was subjected to special restraints, meticulously applied to ensure no errors in his confinement. This exceptional treatment aligned with the rumors, confirming that he was not just another captive. His strong arms were raised high above his head, each wrist encased in heavy shackles, and secured to short chains dangling from the horizontal beams. This imposing figure, though restrained, exuded a powerful presence. Even in his unconscious state, his relaxed muscles remained well-defined, their contours sharply illuminated by the flickering torchlight. From the glow of the torches, an ominous detail was noticed. The horizontal bar between the points, where the chains were attached, was embedded with many sharp, long metal pins, pointing downward at various angles. The purpose of these menacing spikes was immediately apparent to all who observed. They were strategically positioned to pierce the flesh of anyone hung beneath them. His ankles were clamped into thick shackles, attached to a sturdy wooden horizontal beam near the base of each vertical pole. This configuration forced his legs to remain widely spread apart, highlighting his vulnerability and immobilization within the grim confines of the structure. From his suspended position, his knees were bent, and his feet hovered just above the ground, not bearing his full weight. Despite the relaxed state, the muscles in his thighs and calves were thick and prominent, each fiber clearly visible. The definition of his muscular structure was striking, suggesting immense strength. Observing this, the slaves could only imagine that, if this man were to stand on his own, his legs would be as powerful as stone columns. Formidable and unyielding. His sculpted torso was clad only in a rugged slave loincloth, the same garment others wore. The small cloth left almost all of his powerful, muscular torso exposed to the scrutinizing eyes of anyone who glanced his way. This visibility clearly revealed to the other slaves the terrifying evidence of brutality he had endured. His formidable physique was marred with multiple wounds, scattered everywhere. The exposure made the multitude of punctured wounds, marking his massive chest, abdomen, and broad back, even more striking. Long, lacerated wounds crisscrossed his thick pectorals, and the defined bricks of his abdominal muscles, with trails of dried blood, vividly highlighting the severe torment he had endured. This grim display stirred unease and fear among the onlookers, serving as undeniable evidence of the brutal treatment this man had faced before arriving here. The sight of such a formidable figure, resembling a war god in build yet now rendered senseless, helpless, and defenseless, stirred questions among all who beheld him. They marveled at how someone so powerful could be brought to such a vulnerable state. This unsettling mystery also sent a shiver down their spines as they contemplated the grim fate that awaited that hero, in what was known as one of the most merciless places on Earth.